Hi, I'm Mark Mohan, and I'm here with Jeff Baker for another week's worth of movies, courtesy of Oregon Live. There are a bunch of great films opening this week. We've got a couple documentaries. We've got one about a jazz musician. We've got a movie about Stephen Hawking. Lots of really intellectually stimulating.
Are you forgetting something, Mark?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Why? Is there something?
Yeah, there's a Jennifer Lawrence movie opening this weekend, and it's not Winter's Bone.
Oh, it must be
It's
one of those X-Men films.
No, it's not the X-Men either.
Huh.
It's not, and it's not directed by David O. Russell. I'll
Huh.
give you one more guess.
I don't know.
So,
Fill me in.
Hunger Games.
Oh, I
baby.
think I've heard of that.
Hunger
Yeah,
Games
yeah,
is
right.
rocking and rolling on
Right.
9,000 screens
Right.
across the world this weekend.
And that's
Yep.
not just Mockingjay.
It's Mockingjay Part 1.
Right.
It's not just Mockingjay. It's the first half of Mockingjay. It's the part of Mockingjay where nothing happens. It's a part of, like, this Mockingjay Part 1 has as much action as this video we're filming right now. It is
What are you saying?
except with better actors. So imagine, this might be hard. Imagine if you're Philip Seymour Hoffman and I'm, let's say, Julianne Moore. And we're not so much of a stretch in one case. And we're sitting around a table talking about image and talking about what we might do when we eventually feel like attacking the Capitol, where Donald Sutherland sits twirling his mustache and, strangling kittens or whatever he does in the Capitol.
So they took the third book in the Hunger Games series and they split it into two movies. And it sounds like story-wise that didn't make a whole lot of sense. So why in the world would
Why
they
in
do
the world
something
would
like
they
that?
do that? Why the same reason they did it for Harry Potter and the Seven Dwarfs, same thing they did for Twilight, the Resurrection, and the same thing they did for The Hobbit
Right.
and all the other Hobbits. It's money. There's too much money on the table. And I'll let you make the artistic point in a minute, but I think the financial point is inarguable. Since Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, I do know the correct title, made, $900 million or whatever it made, they would be fools not to do it. Twilight did it. It's like art has nothing to do with it. This is commerce, and it's really, again, as they say in Back to School, starring the immortal Rodney Dangerfield, it's a really big check.
Yeah, true enough, and we all do remember that classic Rodney Dangerfield film. And I
It's
don't.
the
I'm not
greatest
as-
diving movie ever filmed.
That's saying a lot. I don't know. Well, I do feel like I'm not as naive as I may come off. I get it. It's they make tons of money from these things, but I feel eventually. Maybe I'm again being naive. Eventually, audiences will wise up and will realize that they're just getting taken for an extra $10.50 at the multiplex for these things. But that probably won't happen for a while because generally people aren't known for their intelligence.
Well, not overly known for it, as H.L. Mencken and P.T. Barnum shared it with you.
Yes.
And also, 1050 at the multiplex. When's the last time
Yeah,
you went to a movie?
I don't really pay for movies very often. I have to tell you.
Let's see what any artistic point we can make about the Hunger Games. Jennifer Lawrence is terrific. It's a Jennifer Lawrence showcase. She can really hold a close up. She can show a range of emotions from pouting to anguish to back to pouting, and
She runs the gamut from A to B.
from
eh?
A to B, and with a stop at B minus, or C plus in this case. She fires her mighty bow and arrow exactly once, and the big action scene in the movie is when she rescues a cat.
Oh, well, that sounds cute.
It is, and the cat almost doesn't make it, but
Well, don't. Spoiler
yeah,
alert.
okay. So anyway, it's set up for the big finale. Don't bother. That's my recommendation to you, movie fans.
Maybe when they
Don't-
put it out on DVD or Blu-ray, instead of bloating it into a director's cut like most movies have, and they could edit down an actual version that's just 2.5 hours of the two movies put together, only the bits you actually need to see.
Right, like The Godfather, only
Right.
only the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Only keeping the good part.
Yeah.
Well, the less said about Hunger Games Part 3. It is Philip Seymour Hoffman's last movie, and I liked him in it. I thought he was like hanging back, like uh, aware of what a farce the whole thing was, with like just a little bit of a smirk on his face. And,
Well, he probably gets it. They all get it. They're all good, smart actors in these movies.
the casting is, again, I guess I do have a final point to make. The casting in this movie, I thought is excellent. All the supporting players, Elizabeth Banks, Woody Harrelson, uh, it's a Game of Thrones reunion in this one too, but Natalie Dormer is in it, and it's good. But I thought the two other sides of the J Law love triangle, Liam Hemsworth and
Josh Hutcherson.
Josh Hutcherson are really the weak links. Hutcherson in particular, I just think he's a wimp. I think he's a wimpy character in the book, and I think he doesn't translate well on screen. So why don't you tell us about the Stephen Hawking movie, which is like infinitesimally more intelligent than the Hunger Games?
It is, I suppose. Yeah, it certainly he is certainly infinitely more intelligent than the Hunger Games, which the Hunger Games could still be decent, and he'd still be infinitely more intelligent. It's another case. You were just saying this movie is well cast and has good actors in it. Same thing here. In a very different movie, obviously, Stephen Hawking and his wife Jane, the story of their relationship over the last few decades as he is diagnosed with motor neuron disease and begins to physically deteriorate while pursuing his scientific career, and the way that she lends support to him as a wife, as a mother to their children, and professionally. So it sort of meant, I think, to pay homage to him and his stamina in overcoming the obstacles in his life, but also to her, and give her the share of credit that she's due, which is presumably why she wrote the book that became this movie. Eddie Redmayne is Stephen Hawking. He's great. Felicity Jones, who you spoke to, is Jane. She's good. But the movie as a whole just feels fairly standard, I thought.
It's black hole theory as a love story, with Redmayne and Felicity Jones playing the Ryan O'Neal, Ally McGraw parts much better than the they did back in 1970.
Yeah.
I thought Felicity Jones did a really nice job showing like vulnerability and strength. I would have liked a little more backstory out of her. I thought Redmayne, his physical performance was excellent, and I thought there was some depth to both these characters. I just wanted more substance, I guess.
It was too deterministic and didn't have quite enough quantum uncertainty to it.
And who can top that? Yeah, top that, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about.
That's right. Any other recommendations for this week? We're heading into the holiday weekend, and really there's not much. Hunger Games is just devouring every screen at the cinema. Yeah, well,
or was it?
Or was it?
Yeah, no. There is a great documentary about the jazz musician Clark Terry called "Keep On Keeping On," which is a very uplifting, inspirational film. This time of year with gray skies, that's often a good thing. So keep that in mind.
Okay, and look for my essay on the Hunger Games, proto-fascist or just plain fascist.
Can't wait.
Thanks. See you next week.